over the weekend, we saw Donald Trump engage in a number of stunts to message to the American people that even though he tested positive for coronavirus, he's fine, he's still working really, really hard. But people are actually really upset about some of those stunts, including one of them, which involved a joyride with Trump's Secret Service inside an SUV with him. Again, he's still positive for COVID-19. It's still a lethal virus, and all he wanted was the optics of a president who's not sick, and he's risking people's lives to do it. So let's take a look at what that scene looked like over the weekend. And his supporters loved it. I mean, there were definitely people outside of Walter Reed, his supporters with their giant Trump flags, and here he is greeting them.
God bless our president. I will die for him. I will die for that man, happily. I will die for him. Anybody want to mess with him, you mess with me first. He is a hero, that man. Look at it. Guys, Gatling guns in here, missile launchers. God bless America. God bless you guys. God bless. God bless the police. God bless you guys. God bless. That was great. He passed right by you folks. He passed right there. He was there. I swear to you guys, right there.
Okay, I just want to be clear. The guy saying I'll die for him was not part of the Secret Service. The Secret Service is charged with potentially taking a bullet for Donald Trump, but the president isn't the one that's supposed to be firing the weapon. In this case, the president is the one with coronavirus making the Secret Service agents go in a hermetically sealed SUV and breathe the same air as him. It is outrageous. And the guy saying he would die for the president, he might get an opportunity. I couldn't see him in the video, but when he drove by his supporters, most of them were maskless while they were going to sympathize with Donald Trump, who got coronavirus, for going around maskless.
Well, that's good for him. Good for him. Good, strong American there. So look, you want to put yourself at risk, do you, boo? I don't care. But I do care about people who have to work to protect Donald Trump, and for him to risk their lives for his little publicity stunt is honestly pretty gross. And look, what do I know? I'm not a doctor, but we should hear from a doctor who has some thoughts on this. So here's Walter Reed attending physician James Phillips on Trump's drive-by.
You know, the reality is that this was a dangerous move. There is no medical benefit for this to have taken place. It violates CDC guidelines that come from the president's own administration. Beyond the risk that was clearly taking part, the risk that was imparted upon those Secret Service agents, volunteering or not, it's the message that's sent to other people who are sick that it's okay to go out. We're seeing schools try to reopen, and we're seeing parents who have already sent their kids to school with disease. Yeah. This is the wrong message to be sending.
And Cenk, he actually continued that message today as he was being released from Walter Reed Hospital, of course, being released early because he insisted on it. He tweeted the following: I will be leaving the great Walter Reed Medical Center today at 6:30 p.m. feeling really good. Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. We have developed under the Trump administration some really great drugs and knowledge. I feel better than I did 20 years ago. Not in any way taking into account that more than 200,000 Americans have died under his watch, and it's incredibly insulting to their family members to put out this type of messaging, not only downplaying COVID-19, but making it appear as though it's like a fountain of youth or something. Like, oh, I feel better. I haven't felt this great in 20 years. It's great. Go ahead and contract COVID. Like, what kind of messaging is that? It's just so pathetic and so terrible. And that's why we're uniquely awful in how we're handling this virus.
So before he got coronavirus, no mask, no nothing, and not a big deal. He gets coronavirus. He and all of a sudden, all the people in the White House put on masks. RebellionPact.com to go see an ad that's already out, and we're putting it in Michigan and 2nd District of Nebraska to make bigger impact. And That's under videos on rebellionpack.com. So but what's amazing is, so he now thinks he's past coronavirus. That's not necessarily true. I'll explain that in a second. So he goes back to, it's no big deal. If it affects me, it's a giant deal, right? If it doesn't affect me before and after, I don't care. And listen, look, conservative schmucks don't understand science. So they don't understand the difference between anecdotal evidence and studies that look at the bigger picture. So anecdotal is, hey, Trump had coronavirus, but he didn't die. So I guess that means no one dies from coronavirus. Oh God, they're so stupid. Oh my God. No, over 200,000 Americans have already died, let alone all the people that have died all across the world from it. Over 7 million cases. No, a certain percentage of people die, and you don't know if you're in that percentage. But you have to clarify these things because the president is a schmuck who puts out messages like, hey, don't be afraid of COVID, I feel great. Oh God, and then he goes and hotboxes a couple of Secret Service agents in a car where they can't get out of it. And so now they got, by the way, all those agents that are exposed like that, they then got to get quarantined for 14 straight days. And now this is unprecedented. Secret Service agents leaking to the press going, what's he doing? Is he trying to get us killed? Well, how are we supposed to staff this? He keeps going around everywhere maskless. In the car, at least he had a mask on, even though he was in the same car as them. In the hospital, he's in all sorts of fake rooms. It's a whole nother story we'll get to, where he's going around maskless. When he goes back to the White House, he'll probably be maskless. It's unbelievable how he's endangering people. So
it's not though. It's not though. I mean, I'm actually amused at like the shock and awe that you're seeing in the media right now. Donald Trump has proven over and over again that his top characteristic is that he will sacrifice anyone and anything if it benefits him even a little bit. This was nothing more than a publicity stunt. That's it. That's all it was. And for him, the lives of those members of the Secret Service who had to be in that SUV with him, I mean, he hasn't even thought about it. It didn't even cross his mind. He does not care at all. I mean, think about this. Don Jr. was angry that Trump did that. Don Jr. Don Jr. is not some bright, kind, compassionate guy. Don Jr. is usually just as bad as Trump, oftentimes worse in some cases when it comes to the lack of competence. But in this case, according to Gabriel Sherman's reporting at Vanity Fair, Don Jr. is like, what is he doing? Why? These tweets, these early morning all caps tweets, there's dozens of them. He needs to stop immediately. Sources said Donald Trump Jr. is deeply upset at his father's decision to drive around Walter Reed National Military Medical Center last night with members of the Secret Service while he was infected with COVID-19. One Republican source told Vanity Fair, Don Jr. thinks Trump is acting crazy. Don Jr. has said he wants to stage an intervention, but Jared and Ivanka keep telling Trump how great he's doing. Don said, I'm not going to be the only one to tell him he's acting crazy. So Don Jr. acknowledges his father's acting crazy, but he's too afraid to approach him on his own. But he also can't get his siblings to do anything about it either.
So it sounds like an episode of Succession. I'm not going to tell the old man he's crazy. Right? He's going to fire me, and you guys and the others are like, I'm not doing it. I just care about myself. Well, for the Ivanka and Jareds of the world, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So endangering good old dad who gave us whatever little money we have and power that we have just to keep his favor, sure, who cares? So I can't believe Don Jr. is a fraction more decent than the rest of the Trump children. Okay, so, but now one of the reasons he's concerned is dexamethasone is a steroid that Donald Trump is taking. It's a very serious steroid, and one you only give if your condition normally, if your condition in coronavirus is quote severe and critical. Now, my guess is that he is taking that prematurely because he overruled a doctor and said, "Hit me with everything you got." So that is not something. If he's going back to the White House, he should not be taking that steroid. If he's taking the steroid, he shouldn't be going back. You make up your mind. You're either severe and critical and should stay in the hospital, or you're fine and you don't need to take that. And in fact, it might do you damage if you're fine and you're taking it prematurely. But Trump's not a very bright guy, as you all know. So, but the thing that steroid does is it can make your mental faculties have issues, okay? Clouds your judgment, makes you potentially emotional. And people that have been on it are like, what? One, I believe she was a doctor. She wrote in, when I was on that medication a while back, she's like, I couldn't be the president of my cat, let alone the whole country. So, and I took a very different steroid, but a powerful one 20 years ago when I had a medical condition. And I remember being super emotional. And so the steroids clearly have an effect on your personality. When people start talking about the 25th Amendment based on the fact that he's taking that and maybe Pence should be in charge for a day or two, Trump's like, hell no way, I'm in charge. Who cares? Yeah. Bush handed off to Cheney a couple of times. It's not a big deal, but he's too egotistical and unintelligent to be able to understand. Now he's going back to the White House. I believe there's around 11 cases of people inside the White House that already have it, including Kayleigh McEnany now, and including his campaign manager, and the list goes on, right? So, in fact, Alex Desliba used Super Chat to say nations have as many COVID cases as the White House. Hong Kong had 11, Australia had 13. Alex, that's a brilliant point. That's why I love doing the show with you guys. Okay, so he's going back into that kind of dangerous situation. And guys, last thought on it, and I did a whole video about this, but if you're over medicating, that also creates a problem for you. And look, this is speculative, but people who are addicted to things can't wait to be not supervised 24/7. They've got to get back to their stash, okay? I don't know that. I'm just saying he is rushing back to the White House, and I don't know that it's safe for him. But that one's on him. Everybody he infects, I feel horrible for. But if he's putting himself in bigger danger to do photo ops and to get back to the White House for whatever reason, he's risking himself. And most importantly, he can get a blood clot. And then if he's not at the hospital, he's in a world of hurt.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.